parents. So this is another part of the series. I've been working here. I've been interviewing different business and entrepreneurs, and now I'm interviewing educators on the best tips to help your child be successful. So I'm here with a good friend of mine, Mr. Rick Blanc. He's been in the education and teaching field for many years now, and I'm going to let him go ahead and fill a little bit of his background in, and then we'll go into some of the questions that I think will help your child and help you guide your child to be more successful in school and in life. So thank you, Mr. Blanc, for coming, and thank you for doing the interview. And go ahead and tell these parents a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I've been in education for 22 years. When I first started education, I was in middle school, so I was a middle school math teacher for 4 years. And then I moved out to Las Vegas, and then I was a 5th grade teacher. And then after being a 5th grade teacher for about 16 years or so, I went into admin, and I was an assistant principal for one of the larger schools here in Las Vegas, an at-risk school. We had over 1,200 students, and I did that for 4 years. And then I decided that I liked being in the classroom a lot more than I liked being behind an administrator desk. So then I went back into the classroom where I was taught 4th grade. So all total, I've taught 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, and now 4th.
So a lot of experience with a lot of different children.
Yes.
So what do you think is the most important factor for a child to be successful in school?
I think in order for a kid to be successful, especially speaking currently, it's more of those character traits. They need to have a lot of perseverance. They need to know how to be able to persist, how not to give up, how to have a growth mindset rather than, oh my gosh, this is too hard, I can't do it, rather than seeing something as something that they can't do, but seeing it as a challenge or an opportunity for them to learn or to grow from. So I think the persistence, having that growth mindset, and then the last thing that I think they really need is confidence. They have to be able to have confidence in themselves. If they don't have a sense of confidence, you're going to see a lot of deterioration, a lot of behavior problems in the classroom, a lot of social problems with how they interact with other students, because they're just going to be trying to find their self-worth instead of actually having that self-worth inside of them.
Thank you. My next question is, what do you believe is the most important skill for a child to learn that is not taught in school nowadays?
That's not taught in school. It seems like we teach everything. It seems like we've got to teach everything. But going back to what I said before, I think that persistence and teaching them not to give up. Like I said, we can debate whether or not it's fortunate or unfortunate, but we do take a lot of that on in school right now, and I try to find any moment I can to instill that type of attitude into them, into that persistence. But if that comes from home, if they could learn that at home, they would just be so much more successful.
My next question is, how hard is it nowadays to keep the school curriculum up with the ever-evolving technology? It seems like, just trying to learn how to use my own phone.
Right.
I get a new model, and then there's new features and everything like that. And obviously, history and math is not going to change, but there's a lot of things that have to be changing, and probably teaching styles are evolving and things like that. Is a challenge to keep up with that curriculum.
It is a challenge a little bit, but you have to, otherwise you're going to lose the kids, because you have to. My biggest thing is, I always say, let's teach the kids and prepare them for their future, not our past, because you look at how they are now. They are so inundated with technology, and again, we can argue back and forth whether it's good or bad. The fact of the matter is most of them have it, and they're growing up with it. So if you don't incorporate that into your lesson, if you don't incorporate that somehow into your curriculum, you're going to lose them. Their attention spans are getting shorter and shorter by the year. So again, that could be an argument one way or the other. But if you make your lesson engaging and you yourself keep up with that technology, and it's not so much that you are learning that technology, a lot of times the kids will know it before you.
Yeah.
So that gives them buy-in to whatever you're doing in your lesson. And if you can give them a little bit of, hey, you know what, we're going to use this smart board, or we're going to use this Chromebook today, or we're going to use this smartphone today, or we're going to use this app, and give them a little bit to get in front of the class and show what they know, then they just have that much more buy-in, and then it gives them something to attach that curriculum to. So I don't think it's that hard. I think you just have to force yourself to do it. You have to embrace it.
My next question is, do you recommend all children attend college?
I used to, but again, with the way that society is going, I think college is definitely the right avenue for some kids, but I hate to cram every kid into the same model. You know, there's so many other options compared to like when we were back in high school. You know, there's some really great trade schools out there. There's so many different ways that you can get information now. You know, unfortunately, I think we still have as a society that mindset of just because you have that piece of paper, it's going to automatically afford you more opportunities or more higher pay. And I don't think that's something that we can change. But I just think, you know, whatever your child is good at, whatever their strengths are, you need to push them in that direction. And for a lot of them, yeah, it's college and university, but for some of them that might not be it. You know, and they can make a living doing other things.
Yes, sir. All right. If a parent does have a child that's struggling in school, what are about a couple of tips that can help them be more successful?
The biggest thing is not to get down on them, no matter how frustrating it is, no matter how challenging it can be, because the child themselves are going to put a lot of pressure on themselves, and they're going to get frustrated. They're going to shut down. So you want to do whatever you can to make sure that they don't get into that shutdown mode. So just offering as much support as you can. You know, saying things like, well, that's not how I did it when I was a kid. Or, you know, why are they teaching it to you this way? Or why did you know, and we all get to that point, because I mean, as a parent, I've said it myself, even though I'm a teacher, you know, we get to that point. But trying not to have those moments as often as having those moments where you can take it as a teachable moment or as a nurturing moment and give them the support they need. And again, going back to what I said about that growth mindset, you know, it's all about how you present something. You know, if your child says, oh, this is too hard. No, it's not hard. It might be challenging, but let's see, what can we learn from it? Rather than saying, well, yeah, I know it's hard, but you got to do it. You know, and just kind of changing how your verbiage and how you say things.
How much homework do you think a child should do weekly? How much homework should a kid do over the weekends? And what about over the summer? You know, just if you want your child to get good grades in school, or even if you just, you know, want to push their education wise, but still let them have a child and livelihood and everything like that. You know, whether the teacher's providing the homework, or maybe you feel like they're providing too much, or maybe they're not providing not enough. What would your recommendations be?
Like nightly, I would say somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the age of the child. The biggest thing that they can do every single night is read. I can't stress the importance of that, and that's the one thing that I say every year, and it's probably the one thing that gets skipped the most by most people. But having them read, and again, it doesn't matter what they're reading, as long as, you know, the parent says it's appropriate, or, you know, whatever, but they should be reading every night. And it could be a variety of stuff. And they don't necessarily have to sit down for 20 minutes to read. They can read 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 3 minutes there, while they're in the car in between things. But reading is definitely one of the biggest things, because that's the key. Once a kid learns to read, then he uses reading to learn everything else. You know, so you know, that would be the biggest thing. And then too with math, because again, no matter what career path you're going into, you're going to need math. You know, you're going to have to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. You're going to have your money that you're going to have to deal with, your finances. So I would say somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes, split up between some type of reading, math practice, and then same thing on the weekend. But on the weekend, you know, if you're doing activities with your kids, that's the best kind of homework you can do. You're taking them on vacations, you're taking them shopping, you're doing all those mundane things that we normally do. Turn that into some kind of learning activity. You know, if you're taking your kids shopping, give them the grocery list and say, okay, these things cost this much. Do I have enough money? Am I going to get any change? Should I expect change back? Little things like that. And then that brings it into the real world. So it shows, oh, hey, what I'm doing in the classroom makes sense because I'm going to need it outside. And then it gives them that practice. And then it also makes it a little bit fun for them. And then same with the summertime too. Just same type of routine. Whatever you do during the school year, try to keep that during the summer. You know, just so that they don't lose it.
Fall out.
Yeah.
My last question for you is, you brought it up a little bit, and I think, if you can find your child's, what piques their interest, do you have any recommendations on how to find that with a child?
Listen to them, talk to them. I mean, that's the biggest thing and that's what I noticed too with my class, especially in the last few years. Most of the behavior problems that I have, they're not really behavior problems. It's students who are seeking someone that wants to listen to them. They want people to know their story. They want to know what they did. They want adults to be able to be interested in what they're doing. And as a parent, I don't care how many times they've told you about how many Pokemon there are. You've got to sound like that's the most interesting thing in the world, just so they see that you're interested in what they're interested in. And honestly, that's the biggest thing I could say is listen, watch what they engage in, set your boundaries to make sure that they're, doing things that are appropriate, things that are going to nurture and help them, but just pay attention to what they do well at, and try, as hard as it is, try not to impose yourself on your child. You might have been a great football player, you might have been a great violinist, but your child wants to do dance, or your child wants to sing. So, just be aware and be in tune.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Thank you for doing the
Yeah.
interview.
Uh-huh.
Parents, I hope you guys find some great tips in that. I heard a lot of great things. I got a lot of great knowledge for myself included. So again, thank you for watching and have a great day.